Swivl Sessions, interviews with field service entrepreneurs. Get insights and strategies from those who took the leap and risked it all to start their own home service companies.
Well, this next episode is really interesting. We had Dustin Davis from Denali Roofing and Restoration, and what an impressive guy. What do you think, Tyson?
Dustin is the real deal. I mean, taking all of the skills, the sales skills, and that set that he learned from other areas and other businesses, and using it when he started his own company, jumping in the deep end, and kind of being overwhelmed like most new entrepreneurs are. The honesty that he had, the integrity with transparency within the business, I was really impressed with. The sky's the limit for Dustin and for his company, for Denali.
Really is a quintessential sales guy with an optimism that can fill up a room. So he's going to do really well. Enjoy the show. Welcome to Swivl Sessions, where we dive into the world of field service entrepreneurship. Now, before we get into today's interview, let's introduce the host you'll be hearing from. First, let's meet Jeremy Edgar, our resident sales maestro who can sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves. Nice visual. Just a friendly heads up, when lunchtime hits, you might want to take a deep breath outside. Edgar has a fondness for lunches that make a statement, from his notorious tuna sandwiches to today's chili that could clear a room faster than his closing techniques seal a deal. But hey, with talent like this, we're willing to endure a little aromatic adventure. Edgar brings not only invaluable sales insights, but also a unique flavor to our team. Edgar?
Well, thanks for those kind words, Rob. Hey, Dustin. How are you today?
Doing great. How are you?
Great, man. I'd like you to meet John Tyson. I know you've chatted with him a little bit. He's our customer service guru at Swivl. With a passion for helping field service companies excel, Tyson knows the ins and outs of customer interactions like the back of his hand. He's your go-to guy for advice on keeping clients happy and navigating tricky situations. Fun fact, Tyson used to be quite the hacky sack enthusiast, till the day a rogue shoe nailed him in the face mid-game. That's right, while showing off some impressive footwork in high school, a flying sneaker smacked him in the face like a homing missile. Dustin, he hasn't touched a hacky sack since, but his shoe dodging reflexes are top-notch. That's John Tyson.
Man, we're digging deep. I love it. Okay, and finally, we have Rob, the mastermind behind Swivl, a guy who somehow owns a plumbing company, but he can't fix anything. And when he's not out there trying to avoid repairs, he's battling the real enemy, his own camera. Watching Rob try to record himself on video, it's like watching a toddler with a Rubik's Cube. There's a lot of frustration and zero progress. Let's give it up for the guy who's more likely to break a camera than to fix a pipe, Rob Heller.
And this explains my earlier gap.
It tied in perfectly.
Yes, it did. All right. Well, today we're thrilled to welcome Dustin Davis, the entrepreneur founder of Denali Roofing and Restoration, based in Commerce, Georgia. Dustin stepped into the world of entrepreneurship by starting his own roofing business right there, and we're excited to hear about what it inspired him to launch his venture, the challenges he's navigated, and the insights he's gained throughout his journey. So, Dustin, welcome to Swivl Sessions. It's great to have you here. How are things in your world?
I appreciate you guys having me. Right now, we are probably busier than what we've ever been since business opened for us. So I'm just glad I had a few minutes to try to fit this in with you guys. And
so are we.
See the outcome of it.
Appreciate it. Dustin, so tell me, I'd like to start all these conversations with asking you about your background.
Sure.
What were you doing before this?
So before I got into the roofing industry, I actually worked in pest control. And I worked for a corporate pest control company for just about a decade, actually. Ended up getting recruited into roofing and restoration services by some friends of mine who had started their own company, and stepped in with their business, and they wanted me to oversee their sales teams and their operations with that, and their trainings, and getting their sales team up to speed with just sales tactics and strategies and that kind of thing, because my background with the pest control company was I was a part of their sales division. I was on their sales leadership team, and I oversaw new hires for the sales department with their trainings. And with the sales leadership team, we would all collaborate on a semi-annual basis. We would assign projects and create and implement new ideologies that would really go throughout the entirety of the company. So they saw me and my success over in that industry, and they wanted me to come on with them. And I worked with them for close to 3 years, and then eventually we kind of went our separate ways, just based off of differences of opinion more than anything. And it was in that time period that I kind of sat for a month or two and was trying to decide what my next move was gonna be. And I was approached by three different companies to come on and work with them. One was another roofing company. One was an insurance public adjuster, and one was going to be overseeing a project management position for an industrial company that did work on industrial silos for manufacturing plants. But ultimately, I decided after a couple of months bouncing ideas around of what I was going to do, where I was going to go, my phone kept ringing with previous contacts and clients from networking that I'd put in with a previous roofing company, and they were still contacting me, needing services. And at that point, I decided I was just going to give it a shot and see where it took me. So that's how I got into starting my own business.
How long ago was that, Dustin?
That was almost 4 years ago now.
So,
Dustin, was there kind of an aha moment where you had so many people reaching out to you through your network? You obviously were doing a good job leading into that. Was there just a moment or like some steps that made you realize, okay, this is something I can do?
Yes and no. More than anything, it was for me, the aha moment was it seemed like the positions of opportunity that I was given with the other companies, I would be either starting from an entry level, having to work my way back up, or with the situation of the roofing company that was trying to get me to come on, they were putting me in a position to fail. Essentially, they had an office that was failing, and they wanted me to come in and turn it around. And I had actually the industrial company that offered me the position to work with the silos. They had an office location that they were having some roof concerns with, and they knew that I was in roofing, and so they contacted me to come out there and look at that. And they trusted me enough to give me that project. And because of landing that project, as well as probably 5 to 10 other residential projects in that couple of month time span, I decided that, I had the knowledge and the capabilities of executing the production side. I had the insurance coverages and everything that I needed. So I decided I was just going to give it a shot. I didn't want to step in and fail for somebody else. I would rather fail on my own if that was going to be the case, and know that I at least attempted to do something like this. So that was more of my aha moment than anything. And by having those jobs in the pipeline starting out is really what helped to launch my business and just kind of keep me going at that point.
I think it's interesting how, real quick, there's a common thread. We talk to a lot of entrepreneurs like yourselves, and it seems like most of the time they're grounded in sales.
Yeah.
Would you say that was your driving force to your success? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the irony behind that is that, I worked with the pest control company for, like I said, close to a decade, and I didn't realize it at the time, but the tools that they were teaching me of how to network and how to build relationships with everybody I was able to implement that across the board. And so by taking away the leadership qualities that were instilled in me from being in the positions that I was in there, and then learning how to network, and then just transferring that over to a different industry is really, really what was the most successful benefactor of being in that sales position. Because as you guys know, sales is really the driving force of any business. So you have to have that to keep things going.
Totally agree. And so a follow-up to that would be, I always like to kind of ask about the expectations from before you started, and then how those expectations were met or not met after you launched your business. And oftentimes what I see is someone with who is mostly a sales background, their expectations are not met from the operational side. Is that something that you would confirm, or what is your experience that how were your expectations met or not met once you launched?
So it was kind of baptism by fire is what I tell everybody. I knew the sales, I knew how to get through operations, I knew how to get through billing. But the things that I did not have starting out was the knowledge of how to actually run a business and all the behind the scenes things that go into that. That and systems and processes, having to implement a system and process, as things begin to grow has really been probably my biggest speed bump. Because, with the sales background, we're able to get volume and revenue and clients and, relationships going without a problem. And then keeping up with that at the same time while trying to develop the back end of the business, has probably been the biggest obstacle for me. Whenever I first started, everything that I needed was up here. I knew everything. But then as things began to grow and, clients kept coming in, I found myself struggling to catch up on the back end of everything with making sure that everything was structured and seamless. So when it came to training new hires and things like that, and delegation of workload for different positions, I had it in my head, but I didn't have it on paper. I didn't have it written down. I didn't have it to present. And so trying to get everybody on the same page that I was already on, was probably my biggest obstacle.
Yeah, I would say you're not alone in those types of obstacles.
Yeah.
Coming from that sales background, which you're right. I mean, you drive the business that way, and then you have those problems that everyone wishes they have, where you're having to clean up at the backside. But you're getting the business done, and obviously you need to get paid, and that's the ultimate goal. And the processes are can be a hurdle initially for sure. Have you at this point worked out those kinks? The back office processes are usually kind of redundant, repetitive things.
Right. And the answer is yes and no.
Yep.
We have the systems in place that fit our size of business currently. But we're constantly growing and
Right.
So we're constantly changing, if that makes any sense. So you kind of get to a point of where you're like, okay, we're good. We've got the things in place that we need to operate for things to be seamless. And then as soon as you think that and you're comfortable, 6 months down the road, you find yourself saying, hey, well, we've got to make other adjustments. We've got to implement this now. We need to change this process. This isn't working the way that we had anticipated it would be. And, just to keep things from falling through the cracks, it's just constant evolution more than anything.
Absolutely.
Dustin, what challenges can you think of that are holding you back as far as what, like, sales side, operational, marketing? Can you kind of lay that out for us?
So marketing is something that I had no knowledge of whatsoever with how all that works. So when the two things that I tell people, the three things that I tell people when it comes to operating a business that just are not my language, that just really don't make sense to me, are marketing, for one, taxes, and insurance coverages. So making sure that all those things are tied in and flowing smooth is of the utmost importance. but marketing for me has probably been my biggest struggle of those other things. It's not in my DNA to be a marketer. You know what I
We
mean?
hear
Like,
that a lot
of it,
from
some
some of
people,
our,
sorry,
yeah,
go
we
ahead.
hear that a lot.
Yeah.
That's
You're
why
not alone in
there's
that.
marketing agencies.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And as a matter of fact, we actually just got signed up with a marketing agency about 2 months ago.
Right.
And so we've dabbled in different forms of marketing and advertising, from anywhere from Facebook advertisements to Google advertisements to billboards to yard signs, door hangers, mailers, all kinds of different things.
Mhm.
Um, excuse me. Um, and we've had some success with some of those categories, but we haven't really found the one thing that we're like, this is it. This is what we need to do to continue to grow. But as we've continued to grow, we're kind of filtering out the things that don't work, at least. So we're able to say, this isn't working the way that we need it to. Let's explore something different. But for me, the one thing that I've recognized is that in order for the marketing to really be efficient, you can't do it part-time. You can't. You have to be consistent with it. And I find myself constantly struggling with that because I'm pulled in so many different directions, wearing so many different hats, that my next hire is going to be somebody in-house specific for marketing. Because in order to grow the business, you have to have that. And so to really find your identity of the business, to be able to market the way that is going to reflect who your business is to your clients, that's been a little bit of a struggle as well. Because if you look across, really, I feel like this pertains to most industries, just across the board, everybody seems to kind of be doing the same thing when it comes to marketing. And so you have to find an avenue that separates you, that stands out from other forms of marketing that other companies in your industry are doing. And so that's been a challenge. Is to just, what do we do different? How do we stand out? And so that I fully recognize at this point that having somebody in-house focusing on that full time is something that's really vital to the success of a business and growth of a business anyways.
So have you found a way to stand out like that yet? Or is it just having someone just to tailor the message so that the message, I mean, you're right. I mean, and to some extent, it's all these industries, a lot of them, they're just commodities. It's kind of the same. How do you differentiate yourself, I guess is what you're saying, and get that message out? How do you differentiate yourself?
So really what we've done is we've implemented core values in the business. So we have our core values, we have our mission statement, we have our vision statement, and we put those out there for people to see. But we're taking some different approaches now with our production process, with who we're contacting, when we're contacting. So we didn't have that in place before. So really we had sent out mailers previously, but it was kind of one-off type things. But now we're implementing mailers in a community whenever we have a project in that community specifically, to stand out to the rest of the neighbors. Because that mailer, even though it might go in the trash, that's one point of contact.
Yep.
And then a second point of contact is going to be them seeing our yard sign and whoever's yard that we're servicing for that project. And then the third point of contact is we'll actually send out people in that community the day of the project to at least the surrounding neighbors, to say, hey, we're going to have trucks in and out of here. There's going to be some debris. If we're in your way, or you notice trash get blown into your yard, whatever it might be, let us know. We'll come take care of it. So it's just about being seen more than anything. And the biggest thing for us has been client reviews and testimonials. If we're leaving a good feel behind for the people that we're servicing, them getting the word out about their experience with our business has really been the separating factor more than anything. Because when it comes to putting out ads or anything like that, it's all pretty similar. But one thing that we have found is to create more of a personalized feel to that marketing. and not having just photos of the project or videos of the project, but actually putting a face to the project, a face to whatever advertisement we're putting out there, so people can associate with a person, and not just a job and a number kind of thing.
And is that you every time, Dustin?
No, it's not me every time. It is me some of the time.
Uh-huh.
But my project managers, they do their own type of videos at the project as well. We
Okay.
do some vlog stuff that we've put out, just from some general Q&A, just educational stuff for people to see as well.
Dustin, from a growth perspective, how has technology helped Denali Roofing? Is it something is there a specific platform that's helped you guys maintain keeping in touch with your customers or with your invoicing or any of that stuff? Is there one that you like or that you don't like?
Yeah, so we use a CRM called AccuLinks currently, and it's been really great for the most part. And it has just about every tool you could need for our industry, from pretty much start to finish of the project. It has billing, it has estimating, it has progress of the project in itself. We're able to share photo files. We're able to integrate the customer. We're able to text message the customer. We're able to really keep everything in one database, which has been extremely important for us. There are some other softwares that I've been exploring recently. But what I've found is that, some softwares have some things that others don't, and vice versa. It's pretty difficult to find an all-encompassing software that's going to be, the best thing that ever existed when it comes to your tracking. But software is absolutely vital. Another one of the softwares that we've used is called Hover. It's a measurement app, essentially, where you just take photos of a property. It plugs the photos into an algorithm, and that algorithm generates a measurement report of the complete structure, roof, footing, gutters, doors, windows, everything, and it's within 2% accuracy. And also with that software, it'll generate an actual 3D rendering of that property. And in that rendering portion of the software, you're able to design it as well. So if, say, we're doing a roofing or a siding project, we can show them what their house looks like now with what's existing and the color features and everything like that. And then we can go in and change it and show them, hey, this is what,
Nice.
pretty close visual to what you're going to see when the project's completed, and the differences.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Dustin, tell us about your customer base. I know you mentioned that you did some commercial stuff with the silo guys, but is it mostly residential? Is it and with that, I know a lot of times roofing goes hand in hand with insurance work. Is that kind of your bread and butter?
Yeah, it is for right now. So I'd say, all in all, about, for the first few years of our business anyways, residential has been about 85% of what we've done. And of that 85%, so take that 85% and now that's 100%. Of that 85%, about 85% of that has been insurance restoration work. So, and the reasons for that are a few different things. For the insurance restoration side, with bigger projects, a lot of the time people don't plan for that. They don't budget for that type of thing.
Right.
So if there is any type of outlet when it comes to financial assistance with any damages on their property, insurance seems to be the way that most people want to try to at least explore initially.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it works out and we get approval. Sometimes it doesn't. But I'd say our approval rate is somewhere around 85% with insurance claims as well. One of the things that we do, mentioning separation of ourselves, is we are completely transparent across the board. We hold nothing back. We hide nothing. We are completely open with our customers. And one of the things that we tell them is that, we don't want you to do business with us if you're not completely comfortable. So we try to set that expectation up front. Whatever questions you have through this process, if we can't answer it on the spot, we'll find an answer for you. and just making them feel completely comfortable with the process, start to finish. From the commercial side of things, though, as a roofing business starting out, it's not that we don't have the capabilities of executing that work. The hardest part to break through with that, though, is the larger commercial companies that have been in the field longer, more than anything. And they're more competitive because they're getting material allocation from distributors, so they're getting first right to materials. They're also getting better pricing from the distributors because they're ordering so much volume, and they're also doing so much volume that they have in-house labor crews, and the in-house labor crews cut down on the estimating process tremendously. So our commercial crews are subcontracted, and so that has been a hurdle for us, but we're finding ourselves inching closer and closer to that year over year. The end of each year, fourth quarter, is when we see a bunch of commercial bid opportunities come about. And this year, this time around, we've actually been able to be a lot more competitive just because we're gaining more experience. We've done a handful of commercial projects, and we're able to show that to everybody and say, hey, we do have the capabilities. We can be competitive. We can provide the quality of service that you want as well, even though we're still a smaller business comparatively to some of these larger guys. So that's been a little bit of a struggle for us, but me and my team, that's something that we talk about consistently, is trying to break more into the commercial side of the business. But just understanding that it's a process to get there too.
Sounds like you're inching your way towards that for sure. So you've been in business for 4 years.
Just about, not quite, but getting to about 3.5 now.
And it's obvious that you've had a vision from the beginning of where you're going, and you have that vision of where the future holds for you in terms of growing your business, moving into the commercial, et cetera. And it sounds like you've got a good game plan and a lot of experience to make it happen. I'm sure you will. 4 years, it seems like you've gone a long way. Can I ask how what's your revenue size now?
So this year we're going to be close to about 1.6 million once it all is done. I think our first year we did just shy of 800,000. Last year we did close to 1.2. And this year, actually, the first 4 months of the year was probably our hardest 4 months of the year. And for whatever reason, as I mentioned, a lot of our work is insurance restoration work. But when there's no storms that are coming through, people aren't having any issues. And so we didn't have, that was a massive hurdle. We had to figure out, okay, how do we overcome this? How do we not find ourselves in this position again? But with that being said, we've kind of worked through that now. And, but yeah, for the first 4 months of the year, we only had like 100,000 revenue for a 4-month period, which I was like, this is not good at all.
Right.
For me.
Right.
So we have got to figure something out and quickly. But
is there cyclicality in your, I'm sorry. Is there cyclicality in your business like that? Is there seasonality in general?
Yeah, there is. And the irony behind that is that once you get into the fourth quarter of each year, storm season is pretty much over, and you start inching closer to the holiday season, and people start, going to visit family. They start really tightening up on their budget for buying Christmas for the family and things along those lines. So, then also tax filings are coming up. So people really tighten down on their budget the last quarter of the year. But, the irony is that, we just had 2 hurricanes come through our route, and I have never been more busy. As a result of that, I'm expecting that to really take our business to the next level going into next year. We have more accounts right now than we can really even keep up with. I need to add to the team. I just don't have the time to dedicate to training anybody new at the moment. So we're just trying to get through this season. And once we're able to really get a grip on slowing down with the new accounts that are coming in, because they're continuing to come in, and we're a month past the storm at this point.
Yeah.
Once we're able to really get a grip on that, we're gonna do some redirecting and look at growth and strategy for 2025.
All right. So, last question. So you have good problems. It sounds like too much work is good problems.
Yeah.
What is your exit strategy? You've been in business for 4 years. You're going to stick around. You're going to grow it and sell it. You want to pass it on? What have you thought about that at all?
I went to a business planning conference about a month ago, and they were talking about exit strategy. And honestly, that's the first time it's even crossed my mind.
Yeah.
I had anticipated staying in this business until I was 50. I'm 36 now, and my plan was to grow this until I'm 50. So I'm 14 years out. Really, I haven't really started planning an exit strategy. I'm still working more on the growth and development of the business to maybe eventually get to that point. But I don't know that I would ever fully exit. I would still want to have some overseeing of the success of the business, and maybe eventually sell it completely. I don't have any children to pass it on to, but so I'm really not sure as far as that goes as of right now. But ideally, I would like to use this business as a stream of revenue to get into real estate investments and house flipping, and get into owning to some commercial properties and leasing those out, and Airbnbs, and have that just be a streamline of revenue. And that's really my retirement plan.
Good retirement plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in a good area, Dustin. My family comes from Jefferson, so
Yeah. Okay.
I know that area well. It's a good, awesome spot.
Yeah. And there was some strategy with putting my business in commerce. I knew that there was growth and development coming up north 85.
Yep.
And for us to be in there now for a 3-year period, we have really developed a reputation in the community. And so that's another part of how we're growing, is just the growth of the region that we're in. There's all kinds of development coming. They're actually, they just rolled out a couple of months ago that they're going to be building, I forget the exact dollar figure. I want to say it's like a $6 billion complex though. It's going to be a hotel resort, golf resort, spa, and they're going to have a water park, and it's going to be a full casino too. So
a casino
that in itself is going to drive, people to be attracted to this area. I feel like, so I feel like we're in a really good spot, location wise, for when that development does begin.
It sounds like you're in a good spot all across the board. So, hats off to you. I think it sounds like you've done a great job, and I'm convinced that you'll continue to do so. And we have covered a lot of ground during this talk, and your journey in building Denali has been it's inspiring. So that said, you've your growth has been impressive. I mean, 50% for the past few years, it sounds like. I mean, if you can keep that sustaining at 50%, I mean, that's a world's record.
Pretty good.
That's fantastic. Yeah. But before we wrap things up, well, one thing I like to ask everyone is, what would you want this audience to take away? Say, perhaps like some advice for some younger folks that are looking to follow in your footsteps, maybe not necessarily in roofing, but in entrepreneurship in general. What would you want to say to them based on your experience?
Consistency is key. Motivation is something that will come and go. It's a roller coaster. It's incredible to me how, they'll not even days apart. Sometimes there'll be some days that I'm like, man, this is the best decision I ever made. I'm like, why the hell did I even think that this was a good idea? What am I doing? I'm going to go bankrupt. I'm going to lose everything, and it's a stressful thing. And, but it's the most stressful thing you'll ever do, but it's also the most rewarding thing you'll ever do. And so just be prepared for the roller coaster of emotions that come along with entrepreneurship. If you can separate your wants and your emotions for a year, if you can put everything aside for a year and really focus on the development of your business and planning and strategizing and getting everything to where it needs to be, that's going to be the best decision you've ever made.
Well said. Yeah, so that I think that'll resonate well with a lot of inspiring
Very much.
entrepreneurs. Yep. All right. Well, that was incredibly enlightening conversation, and a huge thank you to Dustin Davis for sharing those valuable insights
awesome,
and
Dustin.
stories.
No, thank you guys very much.
It's clear how much hard work, passion, and dedication you put into building Denali Roofing and Restoration. And for all of you watching or listening, if you're in the Commerce, Georgia area and need some roofing and restorations, make sure you reach out to Denali. You can find their contact information right here on the screen.
Put your finger up, Dustin.
They're here to help with your next project, and you can trust that you're working with a true expert in the field. Once again, thank you, Dustin, for being with us on Swivl Sessions.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for listening or watching. Swivl's field service software is everything you need to run your field service for free. Until next time, check us out at swivl.tech. That's SWIVL.tech.